Hey everybody, this is Fran Fraschilla, draft expert and basketball junkie. To everybody who's watching, let's get our friends at General Manager Games the subscribers they deserve. Just press that red subscriber button and immerse yourself in sports AI through GM Games content. And on Twitter, it's GM_games. Let's get after it. Let's go.
What's up, everyone? This is Chris from General Manager Games, otherwise known as GM Games. And today we're going to show you a pretty special video projecting the NBA 2021 offseason. And what we're going to do is use a simulator that just came out recently, one of the top advanced basketball AI simulators and algorithms on the internet today. It's called Draft Day Sports Pro Basketball 2021. And this particular simulator has now built into it a lot of the default roster sets, coaching sets, draft classes, things that you can do to move forward. And what you're looking at on the screen right now is the GM Games site that I help manage and coordinate. There's different genres in sports you can go check out for different manager type games. Right now, Pro Basketball 2021 is doing very well in the top user ratings on the website. We're going over to their link, and this gives you an example of what we're going to use. It's on Windows PC. And with that in mind, we're going to go see what's going on in the NBA, fire this game up, take a look, and really see what's happening at the moment. At the moment as well, we know that with the coaching staff and vacancies, there's only about one left. That particular one happens to be OKC. OKC lost Donovan. Donovan's now in Chicago. And over here, we know that there's a spot available. So hypothetically, the game should show that as well. We see now Tyronn Lue join the Clippers. We see that everyone else is kind of starting to fill in. Houston has Steven Silas. So let's take a look at the game and see how far along it is. And we'll begin to show things in the NBA offseason, like the draft and free agency, and see how far this game can take us there. So just to double check, what we're going to do is we're going to go take a look at, let's say, OKC, and then we're going to take a look at Houston to see that Steven Silas is there. And when we take a look at their staff, we see that, okay, there is a coaching vacancy that's there as we would move through the timeline, the turn-based way this game works by advancing. In this case, let's say for Houston, let's just double check that we have the accurate updates in there. We do. We have Steven Silas already now as a head coach here, and he's now joined Houston. Okay, so with that in mind, who is in the coaching pool? We're in the coach hire phase, looking at some of the available coaches that are out there, some of the best ones in terms of strategy. Well, I mean, if you're willing to pay for Phil Jackson, then that would be pretty amazing, but he may not sign. So there is this free agent coaching pool as well, all with set ratings, all with their age. So these coaches have kind of progressed over time. We have some old school names, coaches available. These are some of the more legendary names that you see here. Jeff Van Gundy, he's on TV broadcasts all the time. This is someone that's a potential signing. So that is an example of who's out there as we move forward. So let's, with that in mind, get past this one coaching vacancy. Let's go to the transaction screen to see exactly what happens here. We press advance, and hopefully this gives us some answers. Okay. All right, so what we see, it looks like George Karl is coming out of retirement and will be signing the head coaching job at the Thunder in OKC. All right, so that fills the last head coaching vacancy. Let's take a look at some of the other names here. Some of the other names are showing Eddie Jordan going as an assistant coach. It looks like all those other big names, no one else is really affordable, didn't fill into any kind of slots. They'll stay in the coaching pool, and that will be it. We'll move along on that. So that's the next move, is if George Karl comes back to OKC. We're going to keep moving along because the next thing we want to do is the draft. All right, so what you can do is in this particular simulator, you can see I'm on a commissioner mode, so this is just plowing through days. But you can look at the key dates. We're on the 26th of June. The rookie combine's coming up. The draft is on the 28th. So that's what we want to get to. We want to talk about the mock draft in the NBA. We want to talk about, hypothetically, who's Minnesota going to take? Is there going to be a big taken by Golden State to go with Clay and Steph and their roster? So let's keep moving along. Let's talk about the players in the draft. If you're not aware of them, I am going to pull up a mock draft article from NBA.com before we progress. And that particular mock draft is telling us this information. So this is somewhere within the last few days. This video is recorded in November. We know that this draft is coming up in the next couple of weeks. And so the top pick right now, they're projecting, is a very physical, athletic guard, comparable to Donovan Mitchell and Victor Oladipo. This is someone who has, tremendous strength. They're comparing him to football type player and for body type. So that's someone that is looked at as the top pick. Will Minnesota take them in this game? I don't know. We got James Wiseman, a big, someone that definitely Golden State needs some height. Minnesota, not so much. They have Karl-Anthony Towns. So Wiseman may fall down this draft. So there's some comparables. I think it's kind of unfair to call him Nerlens Noel, but he's on there as DeAndre Jordan at a minimum, and I think he could be better than that. And in addition, we keep moving along. We got LaMelo Ball. He's coming in. LeVar is going to be watching that draft, see how they go into the Ball family legacy, another guard. And we have comparables to Jason Kidd. I'm sure Jason Kidd was probably what Lonzo Ball got to. So we'll see which one of these ones actually do become Jason Kidd. But that's another mock pick. There's a talented wing coming out of Israel, played for Maccabi Tel Aviv. That's a projection that might go at number 4, could go to Detroit at number 7. That's that kind of thing that's happening. Projected in those types of slots, can play like a Hayward, can play like a talented wing that can shoot from the outside. So you're looking at the new style of ball. A lot of the Celtics and the Heat are starting to play like that. Tyler Herro, Duncan Robinson, different players like Hayward as well. Those are guys who are contributors to their teams. Here's a guy who's played very well in the NCAA and is looked at as a sleeper pick in the draft. Could be going up a little bit, going a little later than what maybe he's deserving of. And if he's really going to become an Amari Stoudemire, that would be pretty incredible for whoever takes him. In this mock draft here, I'm going to go through maybe the 10 picks. This is Tyrese Halliburton of Iowa State at number 6. Killian Hayes, this is a guy that's looked at as someone who is worth a lot more than where they're going to go in the draft. Could be in the top 5, plays great. Could be, comparable here to Jamal Murray. So if you can get that, that's pretty amazing. Isaac Okoro, another physical type of player with some length, defender. Andre Iguodala comparable here. This guy definitely should be in the top 10. Physical player comparable to Bam Adebayo. He's been showing what he can do in some camps and stuff, and he looks like a great pick. So that's the top 10 in terms of a mock. Now let's see exactly what this simulator is going to do for us. And the simulator actually is pretty cool. It has a draft representation. This is the introduction to get you all hyped up. I have music in my ear, I think because the way I record this game, there is no music on your end, but if so, great. But otherwise, it's playing some slow build-up music. It's getting you fired up for this draft, showing the names in the draft. You can also press escape twice and go past this kind of introduction. But every year, there's, you're going to see the names if you have a linked league from college players. You're going to see the other draft classes coming through. So here's an example. Anthony Edwards was just there. So we're going to keep moving, though, just and for the course of keeping everyone focused and interested in seeing actually what happens in terms of the results. All right. So here's they have the exact order in the game. They have the draft class in the game. There's a couple of mods that give you all the logos and all the players, even the draft class players. That's also available through the Wolverine forums. You can find that. We've been active in making some mods too. So, take a look there. So let's start this draft. Let's see exactly what we're going to get out of this. So pressing start, we're expecting T-Wolves to be first. There's the order at the top right. We got T-Wolves, Warriors, Hornets, Bulls. There's 5 minutes to go through. So if you're playing this game and you want to take notes and you just kind of want to see what's happening, this will give you time to think. This will show what the computer is doing for picks. Even some cool stuff starts showing up on different sides to say, who's projected. So, it's telling you who the best available at the bottom. It's a very TV broadcast, so this is pretty cool. But with that in mind, let's just get to what the top pick is based on DDS PB21, and the top pick is Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards has gone number 1. That matches the mock draft. Minnesota, I guess, didn't want to go far off the board and pretty much just copying what people think, but that is the top pick. Anthony Edwards has gone to the Minnesota Timberwolves. All right, so the next pick is Golden State. They were projected to take a big to support all those guards. And their lineup, if you look at the bottom, they got Wiggins, they got Clay, they got Steph. Taking LaMelo Ball wouldn't really seem like the best move. So let's see what the AI does here and what they project for the top pick. No, they are taking the best player available. They're taking the best player on the board. I guess, who could be better than Steph Curry to mentor you, train you going forward? So that's interesting. That is the pick that they take. They're going to go and take what they think is talent, the best talent. Maybe Wiseman might be just a regular big and swapped out at some point by some other random European big out of Serbia or somewhere. Who knows? But Wiseman looks like a great player. But we'll see who the Hornets take with their pick. They don't waste time. They take their man, fallen down from the hypothetical second pick. They got a center. They got their big, depending on where you're going to play this guy. But he's now gone to the Charlotte Hornets, James Wiseman. Now the Bulls are up. I don't know if I want to make any predictions Killian Hayes could be all right. Is the best point guard available. That guy at a USC is pretty athletic. Let's take a look who they take. They got Killian. They went Killian Hayes. So that's a key piece for the Bulls going forward. It says here his strengths, the greatest one he has is shooting, soft touch, perfect shot, and very interesting. This is the scouting report. We'll see if that stands true. Cleveland's up. Who will Cleveland take? They go with the athletic player out of USC, Okongwu. All right, let's see who's up next. We got the Hawks. Who is going to support Trae Young? They got DeAndre Hunter. They got Cam Reddish out of Duke. Who will they add to the mix? Another thing that happens in this game is trades can happen at the draft. So far, nothing. It might pop up at some point, but we're at the point where there has not been any trades. Devin Vassell out of Florida State. So they go guard again. Maybe because, DeAndre Hunter and Cam Reddish are a bit long, but this adds more depth to the small ball kind of basketball that's going on. 6'7", though. Can't say I know too much about him. Well, we're up to Detroit, and I think most Pistons fans expect to see maybe they can take Deni, the Israeli kid. But we'll see who they take in this slot here. No, I guess they're got someone who might be considered a sleeper. A trade's come through. All right, so the AI, a small trade, second rounder, actually this year. So Cleveland Thunder are adding a pick. They're trading Dort, DeAndre Burton, and so they've added a second and swapped some pieces. So we'll go check transactions after that as we approach free agency. All right, the Knicks are up. Obi Toppin, though, we didn't talk much about that, but the Detroit Pistons have taken probably a player that is quite useful. And Obi Toppin is expected to be a good pro. All right, so I pressed the wrong button. I pressed next human pick. So a lot of trades happened here. A lot went down, and you know what, we are going to have to check the order on another screen. So the presentation format, it's here. You can see how this game works. I probably should have pressed CPU pick, so I apologize to everyone on that. But what we're going to do is let's go find out what trades happened, what happened in the rest of the draft. We were getting to the top 10, but we want to do free agency, and we want to see that stuff as well. We also don't want this video to drag on forever, so let's go have a look to see what happened. So first of all, before the trades in the draft, we got to get the rest of the order. So another way to do that is you go to the almanac, you go to draft history. We're going to pick the year that just passed. All right, so this is how it ended up. The Knicks get Deni. So now you can actually see them with their player cards on their team, what the ratings were that they had. Let's see what Anthony Edwards looks like. That's a nice looking card. Looks like he can shoot from the outside. He's got the IQ. Killian, let's see what Killian's stats are like. Pretty good stats all around. Outside shooting looks a little low there. That could be, I know, as a commissioner, I guess I really see what he has. And it's possible these stats can be adjusted for each team, I believe, that starts up. So there may be a little bit of fluctuation in terms of the potential and stats. So the rest of the draft, Jalen Smith, we got Nesmith, we got Patrick Williams, Tyrese Halliburton's a pretty good pick. Okongwu went to Cleveland. Yeah, so this is, I mean, pretty straightforward. Okoro, that's a little bit someone who was in the top 10, moved down. Vernon Carey, someone, obviously, the pedigree going to Duke. Someone who looks like they would be a good player because they were projected to be, you know, high school All-American going into Duke. So that's another interesting pick. So that rounds up the draft. Now, what are the transactions that happen? There's usually pretty big deals. All right. If you guys all see what's happening here, I'll start from top to bottom, but there is something that definitely stands out. So we'll make sure it's trades. First of all, KCP did his job, won the championship with the Magic, hit a bunch of threes, is moving on so that the Lakers can add a little bit more in terms of shooting, a little bit more athleticism in T-Ross, as well as acquiring a second pick in that draft. Then we have George Hill, a utility player moving around for Ed Davis. These guys are some utility guys. But the biggest thing on here besides this is the big trade. The Spurs are sending LaMarcus Aldridge. They're sending their first to get, I guess, out of the contract, or they just don't feel like he's sticking around. But if you look at the colors, they're projecting Aldridge to be dealt. Maybe the rebuild is on in San Antonio, but it looks like that's the case because they're adding a piece here, and DiVincenzo, Villanova, that guy had a lot of hustle, a lot of heart, a potential guard to be for the Spurs for a while. A couple of older pieces, you know, one of the million relatives of the Greek Freak. Okay, but there's pieces involved here. It seems like it's for salary cap, but now the Spurs are out of that cap stuff. So we're in a phase now called contracts. This is to pick up any options that players have. And so that's on the key dates. So let's take a look. We're on June 30th. Contract deadlines. We got Summer League. So let's just get through this Summer League so we can get to the free agency. Training camp and season begins. All right, so we're into the scheduling. We're going to pick the default schedule. All right, so we're advancing to the Summer League. It's going to prepare the rosters for it. We're going to advance, and we're going to play these summer league games out. So you're looking at what the sim days look like. So we're going to sim summer league, play the games. I wonder who the MVP will be. There are ways that you can pick these lineups. You can see the camp MVP. You can see the tournament going on. Well, what's going to be interesting next is the free agency around who's keeping who with their bird rights. You know, is Anthony Davis going to stay in LA? Is Fred VanVleet going to stay in Toronto, or is he going to sign somewhere else? Is he going to sign for over $20 million in this game, which puts the Raptors out of max eligibility eligibility for a max contract player to come over? I think they're really kind of hoping on Giannis, but that's a bit of a pipe dream maybe as more teams get in the mix, like the Heat and everyone else, into the trade market. And maybe he just stays with the Bucks because that's what he's been saying publicly. So let's keep moving along. Free agent time. All right, so what do we want to see here? Do we want to see who's in the free agent pool? I think there is one way to go about doing this here. If you are a human-controlled team, there's an easier screen to see this stuff, but I'll sort to the free agent team itself. And we got DJ Augustine. Some of these players, they're showing them as free agents, but they are eligible to be re-signed. Some of the notable names, some of these guys are just in the pool no matter what, like Jeremy Lin, often playing in a foreign league somewhere. Who else is in here? There's Fred, not signed yet. We haven't started the period. Made 11 mil last year. We'll see what happens. Ingram's another player to consider. Let's take a look. Let's say the top. Let's find a website. Top NBA free agents. 2020. Just as we go into this, let's take a look what will happen. So here's an article, random one. Hopefully it's not a lot of pop-ups and spam. But the status. So we got an option, DeMar. We can go check if he actually took that option. We got Fred VanVleet. We got Montrezl Harrell. Bogdanovic probably had higher value earlier. Gallinari just seems to go to a new team all the time, but the Thunder made a pretty good run in the playoffs. So with that in mind, this is the list. These are the guys we got to keep an eye on and see what happens here. So first thing I think we should check is if DeRozan picked up maybe the option that they had. There was a contracts period. What are we looking at? The dashboard for San Antonio. So DeMar's here. Option eligible. Maybe that particular option maybe is a year from now. Maybe we'll stick. Maybe we'll re-sign. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens here. All right, we're going into the free agency anticipation time. And what we want to do is take a look at who's signing in transactions. That's probably the best place to go. All right, so rights renounced. This may be part of that option decision making that was happening here. So Raptors dumped Stanley Johnson. That seems like something that they would do. Rajon won the ring. Moving on, I guess maybe he'll sign back later in the year. Jeremy Grant, for now, rights renounced. Maybe wants too much money. That's probably something that we'll need to consider. He's in the free agency pool. Maybe they'll still sign him, but probably someone. Bird rights, FA cap hold. Okay, so that's something's going on there. So let's take a look what'll happen. Advance. On the side here, we got the Raptors bringing in a veteran to support some of the bigs that they just don't have. Haslam thought he would retire, but he's going to Toronto here. I guess he's 40, but could use $2.5 million for 1 year, not to just be the Heat cheerleader. Jamal Crawford as well signed a 1 year. So let's keep it going. right, so we're advancing through. I think there's a lot of communication going on between teams. We're not seeing yet what's happening, but we need to advance these days. And go back and see what will be happening for signings. Nothing yet. No new trades to report. That Aldridge one's pretty much was a pretty big monster deal. Some help for Giannis. Big contract on their end as well. Okay. All right. Maybe that's blatantly obvious. But AD stays in LA and signs a monster deal. 5 years, all the potential years possible. 41 mil, the most possible years. He's a bucket getter, a defender. So AD is not moving, no surprise. Let's not waste time with that. Charlotte, 3-year deal, 52 mil. Alec Burks. Where's he coming from? Some time in Golden State and Philly. So it seems like this is the player they want. The Hornets need help. 15 points a game. That's the scoring that they would need to kind of help them out. So they've added that player to the roster as well. Okay, here we go, guys. Stuff's coming in. Bogdanovic doesn't move, sticks around, signs a pretty big contract. Joe Harris, this is a guy that I think a lot of people would have been kind of keeping an eye on. Leaves the Nets, stays in the greater area, I guess, going to New York, not too far away. But it's coming in, sharp shooting from the outside. There you go. Comes in, gets his 15 mil a year, 2 years. Nets didn't pay up. Knicks paid up. There you go. Stanley Johnson, who was dumped by the Raptors. Athletic players going to Houston. Jabari Parker, top 3 pedigree pick, 2nd overall from Duke, ends up adding another piece in Atlanta. All right, so we have another big day. Taj Gibson, the utility player, signs with a Nug. Andre Drummond, brought into Cleveland in a move, signs a disgustingly large deal. Cleveland needs to keep what they have. Now we're going to see Harrell. That kind of sucks up quite a bit of money to add towards Kawhi, add towards Paul George. He's sticking around. They need that piece. This is a key contributor to their team. And Bertans signs a very similar contract to Bogdanovic. Similar, I guess, type players. Not from a European perspective. Okay. What will we see next? Okay, Tristan Thompson sticks around. 4 years, 82 mil. A little bit less than a max deal. Contributor, top, pretty good pick. James Ennis. Okay, all right, small potatoes there. All right, so maybe some big stuff's going on. DeMarcus Cousins. Somehow getting a big deal. Eventually someone is going. The Knicks are going for it. Cousins hopefully can get back to his old form. Jay Crowder had a great year with the Heat, was a valuable contributor, earned money switching allegiances to the Lakers. Favors sticking around and for the Pels. Gallinari stays. They want, maybe there's nothing better in the market. They just decided to keep him. And Ingram, an offer sheet. This is an offer sheet, though. I'm sure this could be matched, beaten, but Ingram has signed an offer sheet. Does not show that Ingram has gone to that team. But this will be interesting. We're going to have to follow the progress of this. So this forces the hand. It seems pretty obvious that Ingram's going to stay with the Pels. But as you can see, it doesn't show that that player moved. So an offer sheet has gone out. Ingram has it. And here's the big news for the Raptors. I guess Kyle Lowry's long-term replacement is in place. So we did talk about that 20 mil a year being a pretty big threshold. It doesn't go over in the first year. It does go over in the next year. Solid defender, solid player. The Raptors have their point guard of the future sticking around. That doesn't seem like a far off contract of where he might be, especially as everyone talked about Malcolm Brogdon type contract, that 20 mil a year threshold. So as they go along and as Lowry, moves on, set to pasture, probably has a couple of years to help a good team. That is the future of the Toronto Raptors at the point guard position. Hassan Whiteside signs a giant deal. Wow, that's a lot of money. But look at those stats, just padding the rebounds and the points. Let's keep it going. See what else happens. What happens with that offer sheet? Okay. Glenn Robinson III. Christian Wood, someone who was wondering, is this player really that good? Is this player for real? Detroit thinks so. Signed for 2 more years, 15 mil each a year. Carmelo goes to the Suns after kind of rebuilding a little bit of a reputation for himself. But he's going 1 year to the Suns, collecting 16 mil. Add that to the pile of money he's probably made in his career. Jordan Clarkson, Chris Nunn leaves the Bulls. Oh, this is an offer sheet, it looks like. Yeah, offer sheet. So we'll see what happens here to those offer sheet players. All right, free agency continues. And what do we have? Dragic sticking around 2 more years. Serge Ibaka, the Raptors have a lot of attachment to these players from the championship season, plus last year's run. Can shoot from the outside. That's very interesting for a big these days. Jakob Poeltl, Dario Saric, staying with the Spurs. Clippers are signing some players. Austin Rivers shooting, goes join the Bucks. Is he an outside shooter here? No, not really. It's more of a slasher type player. Okay, let's keep it going. And the Pelicans match, but I think they got a pretty good deal because they don't really have to go well beyond that. So this guy should probably have gotten max. But I guess maybe the Pels held out, signed the sheet to force their hand, but they got a pretty good value deal here. Another player from the Duke system. They go with Zion from Duke. Marc Gasol stays. So 1 year, that seems totally logical. Don't go beyond that. But the Raptors do not want to lose their pieces here. So they may have gone into the free agency pool, but they've all returned home. Another run. One more time. Cancer to the Pistons. We're on the 30th of July there, so how many more days of this are left? I'll have to take a look. Okay, that's a big deal there. Okay, key dates. We're on July 31st to August 4th, and then deadline to sign second rounders. Okay, so let's keep it moving, but let's take a look at what happened next. What it's telling us is we're going to see Paul Millsap extending his career. In the playoffs, kind of was a little distant, but stays for 1 more year at a Paul Millsap type price, 14 mil. Jeremy Grant, someone who's projected to maybe get a big deal somewhere else, pretty good playoff run, is getting 12 to 13 mil in this game with the Hawks. Maybe kind of played himself out of roster spots on other teams. The Hawks just keep signing players. Another one out of the Heat, a 2-year deal. We'll have to take a look at what their cap situation is at the end of this. All right, so let's start getting these days down because, each one's just kind of like being slow. We've seen some of the biggest names already move. And so let's get to the 4th. And let's go through the list. All right, rookie options, D-League, whatever. Okay, so we want to see the players that signed. And let's go to the day we left off on. So we left off with Jeremy Grant getting a deal. Then Cauley Stein goes to the Heat. They need to fill in some of these players. Crowder left. You guys are seeing this before me because I'm kind of reading from bottom up. So Bazemore, Fareed goes to the Bucks, adds another physical player. A 1-year deal with the Jazz. Dwight Howard. Interesting. Probably could have got a little bit more money. Maybe not valued that much by the game based on age. Shelvin Mack, Butler. Old school name out there. Rajon Rondo goes to the Rockets to try to maybe rectify their playoff runs, trying to get further than they can go. Augustine to the Clip. Isaiah Thomas, old high scorer from back in the day, used to score 29 a game in Boston in 2016. And we're talking about someone who's regressed in their career. Waiters goes to the Bucks. What's left? Jeremy Lin returns to the NBA. Gets a 1-year deal back up. Maybe Gigi Barea went somewhere else, right? Yeah, went to the Bucks. So the Mavs lost a backup point guard. They had Jeremy Lin in replacement. So with that in mind, we've concluded the NBA free agent offseason. And what we're going to do is, just to wrap it up, let's go check out each team. Atlanta is a good place to start because what we want to do is also then check out what's going on with the contracts there. They just signed a bunch of guys in free agency, so we're really looking to see what happens going forward. And they have a couple of players that have some rights that are at issue. And the restricted offers or RO rookie, that's the rookie contract coming to an end. So they're protected, but they're going to have to sign some deals. But their hands are tied a bit here. Adding these pieces, Jeremy Grant. They got John Collins as well. This looks like a really good deep team. Very good deep team. All right, next we'll go to Boston. And let's take a look at Boston. We're going to go do one thing here. I'm going to go look at these rosters by the dashboard to actually take a look at what their lineups potentially could be like now. So we'll say we're going to look by position. Okay, Boston. So the cap stuff was more interesting with Atlanta, but in this case, Boston's more interesting to look at for players in their roster. So what do we have here? Point guard. This guy is a guy who was maybe projected to go in the second round, late first. So Boston picked up a pretty interesting talent there. And we're looking at this new lineup. They picked up a legend from Michigan State in the late first. Where do these picks come from? I'm not familiar with Boston's situation in the offseason, but they have some picks coming in. I guess in case Kemba goes or whatever, but this was another early pick. So Boston has a few picks to work with. Very interesting. Let's take a look at Brooklyn. We know Harris left in this hypothetical. There's one of their top picks. This is the lineup that is going to try to help KD and Kyrie try to win a championship. So Jordan, a big. KCP, that's right, trying to get some range. He just won a championship. To go with some old Nets players. So good luck on that. Steve Nash coaching. I think D'Antoni's an assistant coach, so that gets pretty interesting there. Okay, so what do we got? Rozier here, Malik Monk, Batum getting older, Wiseman the big. So there's your Hornets. There's your Hornets roster for next season. All right, the Chicago Bulls. They keep Levine. They keep Kobe White. They keep Thaddeus. Well, they have Thaddeus Young anyway. Wendell Carter Jr. That's one of the Duke picks. So not a lot of different changes here, but Killian joined the roster. And Markkanen's a pretty good shooter from the outside, see 14 a game. So there we go. Here's some of the news on the bottom left as well for Chicago. All right, the Cavaliers, they're going to roll with their top pick. Okongwu, Drummond the big. You got this team seems like they have a lot of front court talent. Kevin Love there, that contract, they need to get out of that somehow. Have not been able to at this point. Dallas. Luka, let's see Luka. His ratings are amazing in this. 28 a game. That contract next season is going to be pretty interesting. Pretty expensive as well. And, you know, not too much new there. Kristaps sticking around. Pretty good ratings. Knicks, I don't know if Knicks fans miss him or not, but there's Kristaps. Denver made a run. Let's see who they added now. Jamal Murray sticks around. Jeremy Grant is off the team. More minutes for Porter. Jokic is here. You know, this pretty skeleton team. Bol is actually a player that some people are really interested in as well for potential. So Bol is still on the team. Detroit. This is the game makers, the maker of the game's favorite team, the Pistons. Gary Gorski's out of Michigan, so he is a Pistons fan. And they have Obi Toppin. I'm sure I'd be happy with that. Derrick Rose is still here for now. Probably need to get some value from Blake Griffin, see where that ends up. But Christian Wood resigns. Here's the Warriors lineup. Curry, Ball. I mean, what's their depth chart? Let's take a look at how they set, what they think the lineup is going to be like. So Ball is going to learn for a bit off the bench. Hopefully he can do shooting practices with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. And I guess Steph's getting older. You kind of need, 32 years old. So, I mean, there's a long game going on here. So there's the Golden State Warriors. Houston. What are you going to do? Rondo to help. Westbrook stays. Harden's here. A little more grit with Johnson to go with PJ Tucker. Eric Gordon. Similar lineup. They're going to give it another crack. Indiana. Malcolm Brogdon. Domantas Sabonis. Oladipo. Jeremy Lamb. UConn player starting to come through. So yeah, we got the Pacers. They got a new coach. Good luck to them. Your Los Angeles Clippers. Who do they add for help? You still got Kawhi. I'm a Raptors fan. I still have respect for this dude. He's got some pretty good ratings. Defender, the Claw. Montrezl Harrell sticks around. So, I mean, not too much different. I thought they were going to blow it up, but Lou Will's still here, chucking shots. All right, the Lakers, defending champs. What are they going to do to go to try to repeat? They got to keep Danny Green's contract. Crowder helps. Jay Crowder over here. Anthony Davis. They got Caruso. Is Caruso running the point on this team? No, point guard LeBron James. But the Bald Mamba is back and ready to bring the swagger. All right, Memphis next. JV. Who else in particular? Ja. A lot of people's favorites. Ja Morant. Looking to get over that 20 points per game next season. And, you know, we got some other contributors. That's not true. That guy's Canadian. Not an American. Brandon Clark. Yeah. Let's see what else is going on. The Heat. Who are the Heat going to roll with to try to get back to the finals? So Jimmy Butler's sticking around. Let's take a look at his player card. Defensive lockdown. Discipline. Discipline others, maybe. Bam. Adebayo. Big player. All-star gamer. Soon enough, if not. Dragic stayed. The white hype everyone talks about. This guy plus, where's Duncan? What do they call this guy? Not Buzz Lightyear. Johnny Rocket or whatever the hell that kid's name is, cartoon. That's what the Lakers were saying. Johnny Neutron or Jimmy Neutron. 5th try, I got it. Outside shooting, not, you know, probably not respecting the 3-point percentage there. Yeah, that seems a bit off based on how many threes he's hit. All right. We're looking at the Bucks. And they added that piece. So they got Aldridge with Giannis. And you know, kept Bledsoe. And that's what they're going to roll with. Fareed helps a little bit more. We'll see what happens there. Minnesota. Anthony Edwards. Welcome to the team. Ratings aren't there yet. I know D'Angelo Russell. This is the excitement they're having in Minnesota. So they got him going with Karl Anthony Towns as their two-headed monster. And good luck. Now the Pels. This is like baby Duke. Well, not baby Duke. This is like adult Duke. Taking a look at their staff, you got, I think, Trajan Langdon as the GM as well. Oh no, Griffin's there. I'm not sure how accurate. Yeah. Going to take a look. Yeah, Griffin came in there for a bit. Stan Van Gundy, though. There you go. That's the new hire. Back to the dashboard. Let's take a look at Zion and Ingram. Well, we saw Ingram already. Zion, they're given the scoring ability, the offensive ability. They call him a forward. If there is dunks, what would we give him? Like 100? 99? Let's see if he says injury prone. Durability. Well, tough and durable. There's probably some hidden rating for injury prone. Okay, next, New York. This is what the Knicks are rolling with. They signed Cousins. They got their top pick, the Canadian RJ Barrett. Oh, ratings hurt real bad here. He's at least as good as Jalen Rose one day, right? Deni comes to the Knicks. I don't know. This Knicks team looks like they're going to get... There's Harris there. That doesn't look good. OKC, run it back. Gallinari's back. Shai's still here. Very good. Try to run it back with that roster. Almost pretty. Schroeder's there. Same old team. Orlando, I don't know, seem to make the playoffs, but seem to disappear as soon as they arrive. So, Vujic is still there. Aaron Gordon's still there. So, same old magic. Mo Bamba. Development of Mo Bamba as well. Sixers shaking up every season. They're Al Horford just stuck there. And then Embiid, plenty of value, but what kind of trade value? They're going to keep him. Ben Simmons, outside shooting is atrocious. I've never looked at some of these ratings. So 22 seems very right. That's maybe even generous. Just gotta work on that. Phoenix. Definitely the development of DeAndre Ayton has started to pick up his game a lot. That's a first overall pick, showing a versatile talent. Devin Buckets Booker. Yeah, can fill it up. And then we got Cam Johnson out of the Tar Heels. It's a good versatile player, young player. Carmelo sighting, going to help the Suns team. Portland, we're almost there to the end of this. And Vernon Carey drafted as well. They signed Kufos. Zach Collins is there. Lillard's there. Same. CJ McCollum. Those staples, those players are still there. Sacramento. De'Aaron Fox. Corey Joseph out of Canada. Marvin Bagley. So we got a similar roster here. Bogdanovich re-signed. San Antonio, pretty much keeping the same roster. They got I don't know, I shouldn't say that. They made a big trade, the dump contract. Let's see what their contracts looks like after they dumped Aldridge. They're tied up to nobody. They're going to be in free agency competitors, maybe looking to tank a bit, get some draft picks. DeRozan's coming off the books. So that is a team that has a lot of cap space. The Raptors, all right. Who did they take at the 30th pick? Dotson, maybe. What was he second? Let's take a look. From Kansas. That's their first rounder to help this lineup up. So you know what? They're running it back. Basically, Lowry's back, VanVleet's back. Interesting to see what the depth chart ends up being with this. They think they're going to play Davis might be cut soon, but VanVleet, that rotation, 32 minutes. They're rotating hard. Shooting guard, point guard. So they have a very interesting lineup there. He's getting his minutes. Siakam's getting his minutes still. Gasol, 16 minutes off the bench. Haslam, maybe a mentor of some sort. Matt Thomas, a super shooter. Not getting any run. Okay. The Raptors pretty much are not creative in the offseason to this game. Utah, always knocking on the door. They had Dwight Howard, Rudy Gobert, and Joe Ingles, whatever. Donovan Mitchell, same old lineup. Conley as well. Couldn't get past Denver, but whatever. Wizards, good luck, right? Brad Beal, they might have a pick. Rui Hachimura, see how well he does next year. Gonzaga, he's due. But anyways, there's a summary, there's a wrap up. What I'm going to do is, because in case anyone wants to see this simulate out, leave comments below. I can simulate this season if you're actually tied to it and you just want to see how this stuff plays out. I'm willing to hear about it and make another video later on just to kind of see the outcome of how this kind of fantasy universe plays through. But thanks for watching the NBA offseason 2020-2021 prediction, brought to you by Draft Day Sports Pro Basketball 2021. Once again, my name is Chris from General Manager Games. If you don't know about us, we're a site that's a database for all kinds of games just like this one. Free ones, pay ones, mobile phone, desktop. We have all that stuff. We also have a very large Discord with 1,400 people. We also have this YouTube channel that we want you to subscribe to so you can see different games being played and different interesting scenarios like this. So I welcome everyone that's here today. Thank you for watching this far, and until next time. Okay, thanks so much.